Hi guys, Miss M here, and I'm just going to quickly go over the difference between paper 1 and paper 2 for your AICE Psych exam. So I have the syllabus in front of me, and I'm just going to use this as an outline to explain the basic difference. So you have 12 studies that you need to know forwards and backwards, okay? You need to know all the aims and backgrounds and methods and designs and procedures and everything that's included in these studies, each one in particular. And not only do you need to know that, but you need to know what approach it belongs to. Is it a biological study or a cognitive study? And you also have to know what those mean and what makes those studies, within its approach, okay? So for instance, like Yamamoto, we have a pro-social behavior and instrumental helping in chimpanzees. So this is in that social approach for psychology. So not only do you have to know those approaches, but you have to know some issues and debates that we see within these studies, like nature versus nurture or individual versus situational explanations for behavior. Okay, so know which studies have those debates in those. Obviously, you need to know any study. You have to know all the ethics of the studies, but basically what's more important is any studies that have to do with children or animals. So you have to know childhood ethics, and you have to know animal ethics. So Pepperberg, Yamamoto, know those studies, know the animal ethics behind it, know the Bandura for children. Okay. Now, you're basically in paper 1 going to be asked specific questions about each or individual study. Now, I believe it's not guaranteed that you'll see every single study in paper 1. I know that's crazy to think, but there's just not enough room. So they do try. So just know that those studies are going to pop up in there, and they're going to either ask you about the variables, or they're going to ask you about the results or the conclusions, or to describe some details, or to procedures, controls, things like that. And they're going to be very specific for those 12 studies in that paper 1. You are possibly even going to have to evaluate one of those 12 studies in the end, and you'll have a much larger question. So, what I do personally is I make, this is a previous student, but I have them do all the aims and procedures. The handwriting is a little hard to see. Do all the aims, procedures, methods, designs, variables, samples, conclusions, everything on the front side. And then on the back, I have them do graves, so they have like an evaluation of it. And that's kind of easy prep to go into paper 1. Okay. Now, paper 2. So, you have to understand research methods fully in order to really understand these studies and not just memorize them. Okay. So paper 2 is looking for you to have that general knowledge of research methods, and basically, can you show us that you can apply research methods to, any scenario? It may not be the ones that you studied, but we're gonna, pose a hypothetical scenario and maybe ask you to, tell us what the independent variable might be, or how could we improve the reliability of this hypothetical study. Okay, so there's kind of like 3 sections, I would say, in that paper 2. The first one is more of like short answers, where you could be expected to write null hypotheses. You could be expected to describe what a mean is or a standard deviation. You could be asked to draw a bar graph or a histogram or a histograph. So that's a lot of quick short answer research methods, like vocabulary and things like that. Now, then there's another section, and you'll see the change in the questions. Basically, it's more hypothetical based or scenario based questions, and you'll know that the topics are similar to the ones that we're already studying. So there might be a question about dreams, but they'll use different names, not the metaclaiming. And they might ask you how to improve the validity of the study, or maybe suggest a control that they could use. Okay. And then you have the ultimate question at the end to prove your knowledge of research methods, and that is the design your own study. Now, I have a video for the paper 2 on how to kind of set a structure for yourself. going into that design question. So, you know, if basically these teachers are trying to teach you these skills in order for you to be so good that you can create your own study. That's basically what we're getting at. And we want to also see that you can evaluate your own work. So you'll find that there's a 4-point question at the end. It's after your design, and that's usually asking you to evaluate the study that you just created. Okay, so let's recap on this. Paper 1, you're going to need to know specifics of the study, okay? Any methodology, approach, background, the variables, the conclusions, the results. Yes, results. You're going to need to know that. Some studies that have hundreds and hundreds of results, it's probably not going to be as important as studies that have like 1 or 2 really, you know, close results, or, you know, just singular numbers, or, you know, less data. They're probably going to focus on that because, you know, who can really expect you to remember, you know, hundreds of numbers for a psychology exam? So think about that. You know, for instance, Baron-Cohen has so much data, but what's more important is like the negative correlation in the study and what it means, and maybe the background information of why, you know, he redid his study from an earlier version. Okay, so, you know, look at that. Don't just sit and try to memorize all the results of all the studies, just the ones that, you know, and what really is important. Oh no, I'll get to it in another video. But okay, yeah. So the approaches, and you need to know those debates: nature versus nurture, individual versus situational explanations for behavior. Remember that one's like from Milgram. So paper 2, you need to know research methods as if you were teaching the class. Okay, go through your vocabulary, go through strengths and weaknesses, go back through grave, generalizability, reliability, application, validity, ethics. Know the strengths and the weaknesses of lab experiments and field experiments, and qualitative data versus quantitative data, and oh my gosh, the list goes on. Observations. Just know the strengths and the weaknesses of those, the advantages and the disadvantages of those vocab terms. Okay? So good luck on that, and I will have some more videos to come in the future. If you need any help, you can send me an email at apsychology9990@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook at apsychology9990. All right. Have a great day, guys.